Hello people, and welcome back to AOR Gran Turismo Sport. This is round 3 of the championship at Red Bull Ring. This is possibly my favourite track on the entire game, and the car that I'm driving, the Hyundai, should, in theory, be very quick round here. However, over practice it showed that it wasn't really all that quick because of Sector 2, but it was still competitive. Now, first thing that you'll probably see, compared to the last 2 races, is I've changed my camera. Because I was in the cockpit before, but now I'm in the roof cam or T-cam or whatever you want to call it. So, that is because that epic battle that I had with Stevo last race, I watched it from another couple of point of views, and I noticed I'm missing a lot of apexes, which looks like I'm hitting during the cockpit. Generally right-handers, because you can't really see the right-hand side. There's some lefts, but that could just be me. So I thought, I've got a week, I need to get quicker if I actually want to be competitive and win races. So here it is. I'm now doing this in this camera, and again, this qualifying, the lap isn't particularly bad as such, but there's just no grip, just the same as Nürburgring.
People are really struggling.
I think it's because I'm stuck in the pits for too long, and the tyres get a bit too cold. So, as you can see, with 2 to go, well, 2 main runners, and then the 2 coordinators, who generally are midfield / back markers,
You could have been 5th there.
I'm in 2nd, so it should be minimum 2nd row. And Stevo goes along to get provisional pole.
How much do you get it by?
But obviously, in the Audi, we all know what's going to happen next. Racing Green is about to obliterate everyone.
Should be leading into turn 1.
And I think he goes like mid to
Although
low
he's
36.
right behind.
There it is, 36.4. Now, in practice, I was getting high 36s, so
yeah.
I could have been P2, but I'm not too fussed about this.
I mean, my PB isn't too far off that, but I just can't match it. I just don't know what it's doing.
Probably heard the in-game
got you
saying that my PB isn't too far off, which I think my PB was a 36.7.
Only just as well. What, the exact same time? What the fuck?
So, we're going to go into a race.
I'm guessing it goes to a 4th decimal place. Oh, they did. They did, you know.
Yep, we're going to go into a race before I interrupt myself.
Thank you, Delaney. But you're still right behind Bank Guy.
So, into this, my plan was I wanted to stick behind someone and just slipstream. I didn't care about the lead just yet. So the first stint, I just wanted to stick behind people and just save fuel. I knew I had to get Racing Green at turn 1. There was no other way about it. I had to.
Slow down.
But Bloody was there as well, and I didn't count on that. So I was hoping I would be right behind the Subaru and the BMW.
That's slow down. That means Racing Green.
That
staying ahead.
This hasn't happened yet.
Fuck.
Which is, I'm gonna have to settle for 5th, and that is possibly the worst outcome that I could have got after turn 2. But I'm now gonna slipstream Bloody, and I've got to get past him ASAP.
His starts are too good.
He's not a slow driver, but I just know that he wouldn't really be able to keep up with the top drivers. So he's probably in that 2nd tier. So I wasn't particularly worried at this point or anything, but I knew I had to make it through within a lap or 2 at most. So I'm looking, where is he strong, where is he slow, hoping I can find something. I almost tried to move down here, but he's made it clear that he's going to defensive, so...
Are you right behind him?
I am not going to do anything.
Nice.
But annoyingly...
Oh dear, I've just hit Bloody.
Yeah,
That's annoying.
as you've just heard, I've just
Kept on
slightly
going,
hit him,
so it shouldn't be.
and that was just my mistake, my misjudgment. But as you can see, the front three are slightly getting away, but generally speaking, the fastest of the three are at the back, middle of them in the middle, and then Ninja Snake isn't slow, but he's definitely the slower of them three. So I knew that I could still get something out of this as long as they're fighting. And as long as Steve and Racing Green are fighting, that is the most important part. Because obviously I came into this race a couple of points behind Steve and about 20 or so, I think, behind Racing Green. Can't actually remember, as it was about 6 weeks ago when this actually happened. But Bloodies now went slightly wide, so I knew what I was going to do here. My plan was always to go around the outside, because I know that he's very fair, very clean. So I know it is possible.
Yes, just do the Perez.
And this is my chance to catch up to the guys in front. But that would mean that I'm going to have to start using up fuel. But I did catch up.
Him and Stevo's just had a bit.
And
Stevo's like pushing him along.
And yeah, at this point, Racing Green's tyres were shot. Like, he's not forced into a two-stop, but
if you have to,
it's probably quicker doing a two-stop than a one-stop. Because his front tyres are just as bad as mine, but he has to drive on them, whereas mine operate from the rear.
If you have to, let Hassan pass and just save fuel behind him.
At this point,
like let him bring you up.
I just wanted to save fuel behind Steve-O. If we both catch up to Ninja Snake, great. If we both overtake him, even better. And we're now on to lap 11, where
me and Luke are both being held up here.
I'm fairly certain at the time that we all knew that we were all going to pit. Because it's generally speaking halfway -1
it's good
for the undercut.
Interesting. Ninja Snake has given Luke the slipstream on purpose here.
So at this point I'm thinking I can maybe even get into the lead. But as you can see, Steve-O braked a little bit later than me, knowing that he can effectively use me, not use me as a brake, but use me as a reference.
That's so slippery on there.
And block me in. So back down to third. And at this point, Ninja Snake has a slight off.
As well. Ninja Snake's off.
And I have to get him. I have to get him there, or it's going to be a lot harder. So like the last couple of weeks, me and Steve-O practiced a lot together. I knew that I had slightly better fuel than him in this race. Because obviously he's having, like in the BMW, he's not as quick down the straight, so he can't afford to short shift. So I reckon I've got about 3 or 4 more % at this point. And I wanted to slightly underfuel, but not like enough. Not under fuel, but not over fuel.
Oh, nice. I've got more fuel than both of them.
I actually forgot it takes into consideration how you drive through the stint.
Come on, I can get out in the lead.
So what it's saying here is I'll have 9 laps left if I drive how I did. But I wanted to be a bit more aggressive, so I put in 13 laps of fuel, which is enough to get me to the end.
Yes.
Only if I drive like I did in that first stint. But now coming on to lap 20. Because I did lead for the last 7 or 8 laps or whatever it is, but I was having to save fuel, and obviously that meant that Steve-O caught up to me. And I'm thinking back to last race, I can defend. I've proved it last race. Confidence is relatively high. I can do this. I can win. Especially as Racing Green is actually right behind us both, and I'm hoping that they fight.
Got 5 laps to defend.
But coming into this corner, turn 4, look at the radar.
Oh my god, I've just been pushed off.
Bang.
For fuck's sake.
Right into me.
He's just gifted Harry away.
I think it's a little bit due to frustration, knowing that he can't get past as...
That's Harry, that is.
easily, let's say. But obviously, after a race, I had to go to the stewards for that because I
That's a penalty.
was in the lead. I was relatively
Turn, you little
comfortable.
prick.
I didn't want to push,
Unfair.
but I was
And a
forced.
1.5 second penalty despite me slowing down. Fuck off. If he wins it, I think I might appeal.
And obviously, I got that penalty, so I slowed down a little bit, and my tyres were dead, basically. I just could not get anything out of it because the front tyres are horrible in this car. But Racing Green just went off slightly there, and that's a 2-second penalty. This is the final lap. You're not allowed to scrub it off right at the end. So that means
Potentially.
if I can do these last couple of corners right, I can get ahead of him.
Come on, Luke, slow down.
And that means that if my stewards inquiry, say that correctly, works, I could potentially win this race if I stay within the 2 seconds.
Appeal. I might win this.
So here, I was relatively happy with second, but if someone gave me a second place before the race started, I would have said yes, I'll take that. But yeah, I felt a little bit cheated out of that. Not cheated as such, but you know what I mean. And into the sprint race. My plan in this was always to no stop it. I did not want to stop at all. I know the tyres get really bad and you probably lose 2 seconds a lap. But because half a race will be done in and around other people, they've got 6 seconds, no, 6 laps to catch 12 seconds, I think the pit lane was. So that means they need to go 2 seconds a lap per lap.
I just went between
rather than just on the first outlap or whatever. They need to go 2 seconds a lap faster to catch me. Plus, overtake everybody else. So, midway through this race, I'm going to be near the front.
Just focus on second place.
But everyone else will be fighting while I'm hopefully getting away. So, I just wanted to just stay ahead, really. I didn't want them to get ahead of me. I didn't want to lose the pack. I didn't want to get involved in any fight that I didn't need to be in. And just play it clean. And just somehow maybe get a win out of this. So there's definitely a good chance for a win. However, you'll see first place is Bankai Billet, who hadn't been in the last couple of races. And because these are first championship order of races for the grid, he got to start first in the Audi, which, let's be honest, is just bullshit. Like, he's got arguably the best car.
How much?
And he gets to start first when everyone else starts last. And
oh god, it's 3 wide at turn 1.
I was trying so
it.
hard to get that changed, but obviously I had to accept it.
No, because wedgie.
But yeah, and I came into this thinking I could possibly get a win if he messes up, but generally speaking, a second place will be effectively a win. And as long as I'm ahead of Racing Green and Steve-O, that's all that matters. As you can see, Jamie ungoated at a wrong point, pushing me slightly back and giving Racing Green room to go next to me. And he's getting the slipstream from Jamie as well, which means he's now going to go ahead. But I didn't mind because I knew that he was going to pit. Right, so at this point I'm effectively a pit stop ahead of him. But obviously he's going to have the better tyres come the end of the race. And going into lap 5, you can see that Racing Green hasn't got away too much. He's about a second ahead of me. But I go a little bit wide there due to the tyres already starting to go off. And get myself a half a second penalty. But in the long run, that doesn't really matter. Turn 3, you can just get rid of it like that. You maybe lose 2 tenths, which isn't a lot.
I don't think Ninja Snake's better.
Yes, next lap. I believe this is where most people pit. So, yeah, so Bankai's in, Bloody's in, Jutton goes in.
I think we've got the same strategy. I think
And
we've
at this
both got the
point,
same
I
strategy.
say... So yeah, at this point, I've recognised that both Subarus are going to not pit. So I needed to get ahead of Ninja Snake.
Yeah, so obviously Bankai's
As obviously, this isn't just for the net lead. No, for the lead, this is for the net lead. Because none of us are pitting. And my only hope, really, for the actual win is for Bankai to get traffic. But he's only got Hasnain. And he's only, what, 3 or 4 seconds behind, I think? I think there's a 2-second gap to Hasnain and then 2 seconds back to Bankai again.
Yeah.
But at this point, Ninja Snake realises I'm quicker. There's no point fighting me because he's not going to defend everyone in that Subaru.
Do I defend?
But Bankai now up into second, much fresher tyres, much quicker car down the straight. There's not really much I can do here. I'll leave him as little room as I can get, but it's just physically cannot defend that.
Yeah.
And obviously he held it up until the last couple of corners. And I got myself another P2.
Oh well, can't go over. I can't change anything now.
Yep, disrupted by myself again. Yes, so obviously P2 and P2, relatively happy with that. And it happened that Steve-O did not get a penalty for it because he let me back through, which I can understand that. I can understand from that point of view that he let me back through from the incident. However, I lost the position out of it. And it forced me to drive differently to what I was going to do. Which, yeah, I can understand but it's just, I believe that it was a penalty. But obviously I have to respect what the stewards say, and I would have taken 2 P2s. Especially as the car wasn't actually as good as I was hoping during the race. Like during practice anyway. Like the BMW was much quicker in sector 2 and gaining everything back from what I was getting on the straights. And it was really frustrating me. And I had to do something, and I couldn't really. It's at this point when I realise I should have picked a better car. And yeah. So while I don't have the championship standings, I believe I did overtake Steve-O as he had a poor sprint race. I think I was about 2 points ahead of him at this point and about 15 behind Racing Green. But yeah, that's going to be it for Red Bull Ring. And next week is Saint Croix, or whatever it's called. So we just call it Sandy Crotch. And I will see you there. Goodbye.